An apology, more tipping, and morning routine. All of this and more on today's Brilliant Observations. Do, 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 do. Why is it that the girl who can't sing does the
I
intro song?
love it. Maybe you're going to win an
Why-
Emmy.
Why is it that the tone deaf one who couldn't carry a tune in a bucket with 11 handles is the one who do's? And you, who have this incredible voice, just sit there and watch the lunatic on the other screen.
You're not a lunatic. I loved that Emmy Award winner who sang and belted out her whole dealio, and it was fantastic. So sing it, sister. When it comes from the heart, it always sounds great.
Nice hot.
From the heart.
Nice
It
heart.
came from the heart. How are you, Melissa?
I spent a weekend with Amy.
Yeah.
Should really be the title of a movie or a series that is reoccurring.
It's a horror genre. Yep.
No. No, sir. Listen, dear listener, to those of you out there with small or smaller children,
Yes.
I have seen the promised land. I have glimpsed the road to Shambhala. There is a time or a place where your children meet up, pair up, square up, pay up, live up to their hopes and dreams. And Amy and I have seen it, and it's possible. And now I honestly feel like that's what at least I am living for.
I completely agree. We're discussing, of course, the nuptials that we were, frankly, profoundly moved to witness and be a part of college friend, very small ceremony. We had to hike to the fucking place out in the middle of nowhere, God's country, right? And it was the elder statesman of our college groups, eldest child, right?
The first. She's the first.
She's a very shiny penny. So there was a lot of expectation, period. And holy fuck, God was like, damn. I mean, this was a thing. This was a fucking thing. It was difficult to appreciate how fantastic it was because it was so overwhelming. There were vibrations of gratitude and love that were, it's hard to even talk about it because even the surroundings had the most majestic view, and on top of being the most majestic view you'll ever seen high up in the mountains in New Hampshire, it happened to fall on something called a harvest moon. So spectacular sunsets are a dime a dozen out there, and this was the most spectacular sunset because the moon agreed to participate. Their family has relatives who have passed on and regularly appear to them in the form of a hawk. Like they just believe that when they see a hawk, that's grandma, right? And so in the picture with the three children, the bride and her two siblings, magically in the most get-alongable moment where they're all smiling and giving this sort of hug group cheer, we're the most beautiful, picture perfect, custom color coordinated with this unbelievable sky as if everyone had planned it. And the picture is fantastic. And days later, you open the picture and look at it. And in the distance is a hawk in the field when you zoom in with the head turned toward the children, just standing in the field. I mean, it was like, I can't get any more kismety than this. So it's a lot to come down from when you arrive back in your home life and you're tired and everybody needs from you and biting and chomping on you. It's like, did you forget that we still have love in our heart? Did you forget?
We're still full of joy.
Did you forget?
Shut the fuck up.
Oh my
needy
God,
ones.
their fucking vows. These little dickhead twerps decided to
Bring us all
eschew any traditional marital vows, including like the person who, the arbiter, whatever the fucker, or the person who was matching them up. Why can't I think of what that person is called?
I'm just going
The
to let you go.
ceremonialist who was putting them together, right? The non-denominational wedder was up there saying, it is not up to me to quantify the terms of this relationship. So you already know they're young, right? When they're talking this way. And then the two of them cut with that shit and start talking about how I'm not even going to cheapen it. I'm not going to cheapen it. I'm not going to cheapen it by sharing their very intimate vows. And it was difficult to absorb it.
Ugly cried like a bitch the whole fucking time.
It was just a moment, and you don't get a lot of moments in life, and that was one of them. And it was made so much more special because both of our college friends who happened to marry each other were there blubbering like a fucking whale and couldn't like have a hard time. I even have pictures, and their eyes are like giant red eyeballs, just weeping, and they got nothing. They can't talk. They would just look at you and open their mouth and go So it was, a glorious and highly emotive time was had by all.
It's everything, the dream. It's the Hallmark one, because you can't do an outdoor wedding because you can't time it because of the weather, and you can't time it because of the location. They threw all caution to the wind, said we're doing this out of doors. We're doing this 10 days into September in the very Northeast.
In fucking New Hampshire. So I'm thinking, I'm going to be cold. I'm going to be in the mud. A hawk is going to peck my eyes out. Like, all kind of stuff is going to happen to me. What the hell? Now I got to hike up this gravel, dirty road. What the hell? What the hell? It's a bench.
Couldn't have been more perfect.
And all of that shit went by the wayside. And it really was a wedding for the young, and they understood the assignment. So all of her, and his team bride and groom, I didn't know this until at the ceremony. This was held at a summer camp where kids go. It's the location is a summer camp. So there's
where the groom's been for 13
So there's
years.
cabins and things like this. So the facility itself is sort of nestled in the most pristine spot. And so we used the public spaces there. We used their gathering cabin for dancing and that kind of crap, right? So, okay. So they had all their friends were invited to sleep in the bunks at the camp. So they had a camp weekend for all of their friends, which to me, nothing could be more horrible sounding. And I was not invited to this, thank God.
Oh, no, that sounds amazing.
No, but if I were 20 years old and my besties were going to go sit around the campfire and not have to leave and have free-flowing food and booze the whole time and not worry about stumbling around and wake up in the middle. This is glorious. And for me, I got to see the sunset. Somebody hand-delivered my food, and I could go home. So it really was everything that I needed, right? It was everything that I needed. Just amazing. So, so fantastic.
I leaned into my husband and I said, why is this so much better than our wedding? And he said, basically, our wedding was for our parents and their friends and their 15-piece band that they hired for this Colossus, which, by the way, my wedding was killer as an outsider, but they did understand the assignment, and they invited all of their friends, and the small table was family, and the other small table were parental friends. The big tables, the joy, I honestly felt like, and I think I turned to you and I said, do you remember the end of Mamma Mia when
said that to my husband. Yep.
You slammed on, they were dancing on the dance floor in the cracks, and Aphrodite rose through a water fountain, whatever. And, well, your husband looked at me and said, I've never fucking seen Mamma Mia. I'm in this moment of, like, pure euphoria.
One more reason to love you, babe.
There's pounding on the floor of this gathering space, as Amy called it. And we ate and we danced. And as we're, like, dancing and you feel the room rocking, I'm like, oh, my God, water's going to... And Brian's like, no.
Well, I don't know camp. He's never been to a camp. I've never been to a camp. The most camp I've ever been to is with these same people when they had a camp-like experience for the first main wedding, where for the whole weekend, in lieu of them immediately rushing off to a honeymoon, the whole party, we went whitewater rafting and slept on cots on these elevated platforms with things over top, which are like some sort of cabin tent. I don't know. I don't fucking camp. I don't go to camp in the summer. I'm not a Jew. So I had no lovey association with a splinter-filled bench for my silk dress. Like, that was not the thing where I thought, this is going to be great. So, but all that flies out of your head when you simply look up and you are staring, frankly, at heaven. I don't know. I live in North Carolina where we get some fucking mountains, bitches. So and there are the Blue Ridge. So they are blue like that. So to be in New Hampshire and have that blue and pink and orange and slate gray and hunter green and pale, pale, pale gray to white, pristine, everything earth to sky. You haven't seen it. I'm just here to tell you There's no film that's captured this. There's no photograph that you've seen that sets this up. And now I understand, to be very, very loving, why they all had such a fucking hard on for having it out in this middle of nowhere place.
So in there, you said, in that tiny little speech, you said, I'm not a Jew. I don't know from camp. And yeah, that's who sends their kids to camp, by the way, the Jews. So I want to tell you a tiny Jewish tie-in. We've talked about tipping on this podcast 1,000 times, even recently with the, what do you mean you don't tip the people at the hotel housekeeping for, when we checked into our hotel, they said, there's no housekeeping. And we're like, oh, okay. We're only here for a couple of nights. It's fine. I could contain my filth. I can make my own bed. I'll be all right. I live like that normally. So special treat and what we paid aside, we're good about it. But I did discover more things about tipping. I also have, as introduced at the beginning, an apology for several people. So I'm going to start it like this. We went for a walk in town because we did go to this adorable town of Wolfboro, New Hampshire. And we stayed at this super great little inn where we just walked downstairs and went to the restaurant and took over the restaurant, all of us from the little table of parental friends. And we just owned it, right? We owned any hotel we've ever walked into. We've literally owned by the end of it.
Correct.
Figuratively owned, not literally.
Correct.
So while walking around the town, we discovered the Yum Yum Bake Shop. Which Amy tends to go to a venue a day sooner than everybody else. Or sometimes, as my birthday was proof of, a week before everybody else. Or, even better, several days just to get acclimated to, in my head, it's to look at all of the menus so you know exactly how to order and where to go and all the things.
In fairness, I am coming from a further ways away than the rest of you. So part of it is for travel. And the added bonus is, if I'm here, I'm going to figure out what we're fucking going to eat. Okay.
And I absolutely fucking love that. So walking from the hotel, we just went into this tiny little town, which is right there. So we're walking, gingerbread. Oh, I do like a good gingerbread, anything, cookie, house, whatever. Hey, Brian, is this a good, Melissa? It is, I would say, the best gingerbread cookie I've ever had in my 50-some years. Well, say nothing else. Say no more. Seriously, say nothing and get the fuck out of my way because I've got to get to the front of the line. So I'll be the judge of that was the only thing I thought in my head. And I went and I tore the fucking head off of that gingerbread cookie and I ate it like I was getting paid millions for it.
I know you're on a roll here, but I really have to jump in because the gingerbread cookies, guys, they were in the traditional shape of a gingerbread cookie, but smaller than your palm and fingers. So they weren't oppressively sized. They were super soft and chewy, like the best sugar cookie, dusted on the outside with visible, those large Demerara size sugar granules, like the white sugar granules. They had been pressed on the top so that there was a gingerbread smile and a face and buttons down the front, but it was all chewy, heavy molasses, sweet forward, crisp on the outside, sink your teeth all the way through down to the bottom, and the slightest hint of a caramel crunch on the bottom from where it sat in the pan because it's just that laden with sugar. That's the cookie we're talking about.
I think I just came. So as my teeth went into it and I felt the distance between my teeth lessen and lessen until they almost squeaked together because it was so soft and sweet. And then that little zing of ginger that comes through, I wanted to cry. He did not oversell these cookies, right? He did not oversell them. It was half the religious experience that wedding was, but it was amazing. So that, now what, right? So, okay, that was fucking delicious. I highly recommend if you find yourself in Wolfboro. P.S. They ship. And don't think I haven't already taken care of what I've needed to take care of.
I didn't even notice.
Two aspects from this trip. One, I get to the end of the counter after also adding a donut, a peanut butter cookie. I added everything into this box because it's not just the Yum Yum Gingerbread House, whatever. It's a full bakery and it's sublime. I get to the end of the line. I'm about to pay. The guy in front of me is paying, and he is going to tip in the tip jar. But the employee turned around to wrap the box,
Oh.
and he waited.
Yeah.
Hand hovering over the tip jar. He waited,
Mm-hmm.
and he waited, and he waited until she turned around. Hovering, hovering. She turns around, still doing something. He goes to put it in. See, she's not looking yet. Waits. And then she goes to look for the credit card from him to pay, and then he puts the cash in the tip jar. Okay.
Valid. I say valid.
Sure you do. Because I need to get credit. People need credit for everything they do. Credit.
I don't agree with that assertion.
Oh my God! He waited 40 minutes to get the credit for the tip so she could see his eyes.
Yes, he gets credit for it. But there's another factor here, which is what I did when I didn't do that, but I effectively did the same thing. I'll tell you at the end of this little rant that I'm getting ready to say. The point of tipping in that circumstance at counter service with a tip jar wadded with cash on a $2.18 cookie. The point of tipping is to say, I appreciate you. I value this experience. I want you to know that. Nobody's going to make their mortgage payment on $1.
Know that?
No, I don't think they know that.
Money that's in there?
No, I don't think they know that. So that what you're doing when you're leaving the tip is saying an extra hearty thank you. And if you said the extra hearty thank you in the parking lot where no one could hear it, that purpose is gone. So yeah, maybe he was self-aggrandizing and needed to have them acknowledge that he was leaving an extra amount of monetary value on this exchange. For me, I made eye contact with the guy behind. I walked up to the counter, already had my stuff. We had already left. We were on our second trip, by the way. That's how good those cookies were. So,
yeah.
Okay.
I didn't leave.
So I had a couple of bills in my hand. And while he was doing something else, I just stood at the counter and he looked up as if to say, can I help you? And as he was doing that, I raised my hand up to show the $2 and I stuffed it in and he gave a wink. And he went back to what he was doing. So the idea is, thank you. In it goes. Like, that wasn't about me saying, look at me, everyone, I'm a tipper. I felt like I wanted him to know, I really thank you twice, right? With these extra $2. Oh, $2. I don't know. So maybe I've just, that's my brain's way of saying, let's pretend I'm not patting myself on the back, right? Maybe I'm completely deluding myself. I feel like I was doing it because I wanted him to know. The purpose of the tip is I want you to know. Not that there's an extra, not that at the end of the day, when you total up the money in the jar, that's when you'll get your thank you. I want you to know the thank you came from me with my eye contact, to the point where I give people thank yous all the time, and I don't necessarily give you a tip. So it's about the thank you for me. Speak.
I'm going to stop you at the I want them to know it came from me part of that experience. That is the credit part to which I am referring.
But I don't get credit for that. That's my way of saying, no. I don't take any.
How do you not get credit? You make sure he gives you credit with eye contact, the wink, the nod,
I don't see
you
that.
You are the one who gave this to me.
Okay.
It's not that, yay, I got money. It's this girl's the one that gave it to me. She needed credit for giving it to me, and I'm going to give it to her.
I don't see how that's
cash.
I'm sure that's a factor that is so subconsciously hidden for me that I don't know it. It doesn't even register what you're saying. I have to think about it hard because it's not.
Right, think about this.
I don't know. That person's opinion of me is not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is I need to express gratitude to you, and I want you to receive the gratitude. That's it. I don't get a star for expressing it. I want them to receive it.
Do you know the word tzedakah? It's a Hebrew word.
Yeah, he's Neil Sedaka. He's a great singer in America.
He's
got a couple of yellow ribbons around the tree, and he bangs on the ceiling upstairs because he's got
knock 3 times on my tuchus if you love
Tony
me.
Orlando, I got him. Yeah, I know all those chaps.
Tzedakah is, it literally interprets to righteousness, but what it is, it's been interpreted as charity. So when little Jewish kids go to Hebrew school, here's a tzedakah box, a pishka.
We used to have the word charity in our Catholic thing, and then people didn't get it, so then they changed it to love.
Oh, I like
faith,
that.
Faith, hope, and charity is now replaced with faith, hope, and love. We're not allowed to say charity anymore because charity has gotten a bad rap, so you have to call it love. which
charity got a bad
right
rap.
because people were
And
abusing the charity because it was about the me, which I don't fucking
title
get.
of this.
Okay,
right. So that's what I'm talking about. So for Jews, there are like 8 different levels of giving.
Sudoku,
right?
Yeah.
Tzedakah. Oh my God. Not a sketchy puzzle you have to do with numbers.
What is it? Tzedakah?
Tzedakah, yeah.
Tzedakah.
It's been interpreted as charity, and they have ascending levels of giving, right? So as I'm sure you can imagine, the highest form of giving, or one of the highest forms of giving, is completely anonymous.
Yes.
Right? I don't know. Nobody knows where this came from. I don't know who's getting.
Do something good and don't get caught. Yes.
And don't get caught. That's it. I was always like, what do you mean? Like, how are they, when I was little, it was, how are they going to know that I gave them that? If the point is, little girl, they don't know it's you. They know something wonderful happened to them due to the kindness of the lowest form, yet still wildly giving, right? Well, I guess the lowest form is begrudgingly giving. Like, I don't want to tip the fucking, but I was shamed into it and throw a tip down. But I feel like if you look at those levels, look, giving is giving, and that's wonderful. And the whole gift horse in a mouth thing, I'm not looking you in the mouth, dear gift horse. I take and I give and I whatever. But the highest form of giving is probably teaching a man to fish. Is doing it anonymously. So when that guy stood at that counter and was like, look here, I'm giving you this, I thought, Maimonides would be horrified by what, like, these levels. Yeah, did you like how I threw that in there? Right. So giving anonymously is really the greatest. Calling up the school at the end of the year, and this doesn't count as me taking credit for shit, so shut up if that's what you're coming at me for. Calling up the school at the end of the year and paying off the lunch bill for like the 5 or 6 students that I see, that I know that my kids have seen, have just had a balance that they carried, and they're not going to not feed children because they don't have the fucking money for it. But our school district does keep track and send you a bill at the end. And that kind of makes me crazy. And so to be able to do things like that anonymously, I don't say, did you make sure they knew that the brilliance paid off? Or do you make sure they knew that this was paid off by a...
I agree with that completely. I practice that as frequently as I can.
I know you do.
I adopt it wholeheartedly. In this particular case, whatever was going on with that dude waving his bills around and getting the wait look, right? Notwithstanding, in my case, in this instance, it comes down to the tip. The monetary tip is not the good work. The tip is not the compliment. The contact is the compliment. That's the reason that I want the contact with you. I want to make eye contact. I want you to feel the gratitude from me to you. That's the gift. That's the tip. I'm not looking for acknowledgement of that. That's my gift to you. That's the prize. That's the package. This extra little bit of money is the courtesy because that's what you do and to reinforce it. It's irrelevant. So whether they stuffing it in the jar at the hot dog stand or whatever is not the point.
I like that.
Like that's why
I was
that. That was the exchange for me, right? I'm always leaving.
I like that eye contact being the point of the tip. His was not. His was. This is the money. This is going in.
Me. Everyone in line.
Yours was. I see you. I appreciate you. Oh, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do that.
Well,
but
and to the point where I wasn't waving I waited until I made eye contact, and then quick flash of the money. It was just between us. It sounds like that other guy was maybe kind of got caught in the headlights and then didn't have the wherewithal to put his hand down. Instead, he had to stand there like. Like he's a fucking raccoon when the floodlights go on. I'm not taking your trash.
When you open the dumpster.
Now what do I do? Fuck. I'm going to stand here with my $1. Fuck.
I'm going to wait it out.
I will win this transaction. Watch me.
Yes. 100% yes. So yes, dear listener, she might not have tipped for a non-existent housekeeping, but she
never
absolutely
tipped for housekeeping. Still didn't. Yep.
She tipped twice when it came to the gingerbread deliverers. That being said, my apology comes here.
Uh-oh.
To my friend Hindi, my friend Brandy, and my friend Michelle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I brought back gingerbread cookies for the three of you.
I know where this is going already.
My intentions were superb, were unmatched.
And now
were
my intestines are full.
I am so sorry, especially with Amy's wildly accurate description of the joy
Bitch,
that
you
is
ain't get
that
no cookies?
cookie.
She had to drive 7 hours to get these fucking yum-yums.
Amy, I bought, I'm just going to say, more than a dozen.
Wow.
To distribute among these three families, these three couples.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, that sticker on the outside of the box stood no chance. And it wasn't a paper sticker that you could put your nail in and slide across.
Oh, no.
It's a plastic sticker that you had to unstick from either side of the box.
It's like a peel it up thing. And it's a heavy wax box, not like a bakery box. Bright blue, which doesn't really match anything that they're doing, so I kind of don't get it. Oh, my sweet Lord. Not like Mike's in Boston where they tie it with that little cord so you can get in there and people don't really know what you've been doing and just tie it up
You could
again.
sneak in a flap.
You know what you do. Yeah. Not so with the Yum Yum. Not so. Our first pass, husband and I got 3 cookies.
Day before.
3 cookies. And these were dessert cookies. We got 3 thinking, I fully believe, and they call them small because they had larger ones. So we got 3 small cookies thinking we'll probably each have a cookie and then maybe have one later. Okay, so as we were still wiping the ginger from our cheeks
Drool.
in the front lot of the Yum Yum. Like, we hadn't even left the place, right? The air still thick with ginger hanging on you. We're both looking at this little wax bag like, I think I need to pull rank. Like, how am I going to get in here? Is this like a gender thing? Like, women go first? I need to get this something, right? And he's looking, and we're doing the thing where we look in the bag and we look at each other. And then we look around, and then we look at the bag, and then we look at we'd eaten a full meal. This was a dessert. And
he elbowed you in the face to get to the bag.
And then it didn't take too long because we've been married a long time. We're like, in half, okay? In half. So then comes the thing where who's going to fucking rip it in half? And then who gets to pick from them halves? And then how going to be, should we just go buy some more? Like,
yes. That is the answer. Yeah. Fill the bag.
Yeah, we returned.
There's the issue because we return. The issue is if you are splitting a gingerbread man, clearly when you are eating the Easter bunny, the gingerbread man, the head goes first. I guess Easter bunny, the ears go first. The head goes first.
The head is the primary place. Nobody wants to eat the fucking stump legs. Come on.
I did. I will take them right now. You could break him in half down his center because he folds. My gingerbread don't wiggle.
It's poor form. You can't. I think
but you've already taken his head off.
It's not built for sharing. Go get your own.
It's not built for sharing. Gingerbread men, the soft one, it's just not built for sharing. It's built for, you could definitely divide it in 2. Like you take 2 cookies, I take 2 cookies, but you can't. Yep. 3 was a stupid number is the moral of this story when ordering cookies. What were you thinking?
This place is so spectacular. They had a sign on the door. The whole area is having a hard time keeping kids around to do regular jobs. And most of the homes tend to be second homes. It's on a lake. So there were regularly stores that were closed and said, we will open if we get staff. So it's like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, what was that?
It was after Labor Day in a lake town, right? So
it is possible that we will be closed on Saturday due to staffing issues.
Our kitchen service is dependent upon who shows up. Please be kind. Like all those kinds of signs are everywhere.
Right.
So at the Yum Yum Bakery, they had a help wanted sign for an ice cream scooper because the Yum Yum Bakery is a bunch of baked goods in the front, donuts, cookies, pastries, and then ice cream, right? It's the Yum Yum shop. So that's kind of what it is. And it's right on the lake with a dock behind it and Adirondack chairs in the front so you can sit and watch things go by. Super charming, wonderful. It's the place to be. And they're hiring now for $18 an hour, including 12 paid days off per year and health care.
Wait for it. Yeah.
Health care. $18 an hour to scoop of ice cream, go to the doctor, and fucking take a day off. What?
I would work there in a fucking heartbeat. I would work there in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are some jobs that I don't feel I could take because the same way when I look at the University of Delaware 2026 graduate parent page and they say stupid shit and I want to tear them new assholes. My husband says, please don't.
This is tied to you. Yeah. And you are
I am a
tied
pillar
to me. Yeah.
in this community, and I cannot have
I
my
am a pillar
wild
in
card
this
wife
community.
doing this shit out there in the world. So
Every card
I do not.
address to you fuckers from now on is going
Pillar.
to be to the pillar of the community, comma.
Oh my God, the kids and I have been calling him the pillar for at least 15 years.
Hey-o.
Hey, pillar, can you get me a drink while you're up? Absolutely, he's the pillar.
Oh my God, in heaven, in heaven.
And if he were a lesser human, like he would get high with me or anything like that, he couldn't be called that. But that is a straight as an arrow man who is a pillar in this community.
I have been so fascinated by the $18 an hour job promotion for ice cream scooper at the lake that it's been a topic of conversation among several different, groups of folks I know. And I will come back here only to say, because one group has said, isn't that fantastic? Everybody should make this much or more. And on one level, I was like, yeah, that's a great perspective. That wasn't my initial perspective. Thank you for the reminder, right? I didn't say any of that, but that's where my brain went. Here's the reason that I'm stunned that $18 an hour is the going rate for Lakeside Ice Cream Scooper. It comes to mind that accredited EMTs who are tasked with saving your life make $17 an hour. And I just feel like the comparative skill set is a little out of whack for someone wielding a stainless steel ice cream scoop or an EKG machine or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Cardiac hearts and starters. I don't even know what it's fucking called. I can make you an ice cream cone. I can't save your life. Come on now.
But you could get paid more. I got to be honest. I think after what they just made from me on my 3 passes in 4 hours.
Bingo. That's a bingo.
They have the money to pay you $18 an hour.
And down the street. So the reality is, I think ice cream scoopers, if we're paying them $18, then I think EMTs should be getting, $800. Like, that's the point. I don't feel like we need to cheat the ice cream scooper, but I just do want the guys and gals who are having a higher skill level and requirement and liability and risk to get rewarded. And then let's come all the way back to it. Mr. Frankfurter, there was a human-size hot dog standing up along the dock a couple of blocks down.
Burlap Squad, you could see a picture.
He's squeezing ketchup on his own head. It's a good trick. Okay, so it's a giant plexiglass Oscar Mayer style. It's the Miracle Mayo.
You're joking. You just stroked out, and we're joking about it. Are you okay?
Just Tosh stroke. Come back tomorrow. Okay. So I have he had an Oscar Mayer style. Try it again, bitch. Hot dog. He has a hot dog, and he's squeezing ketchup on his own head, and he's made of fiberglass, not plexiglass.
That's it.
It's made of fiberglass.
You can't
and
see
he's
through.
got a wonderful little look on his face, and he has a distinguishable nose, like all the things hot dogs don't have. So he's doing this, and he's right next to the hot dog cart. Who
gets paid $24 an hour.
I feel like the man's name is Frank, the guy who was running this cart. So then we heard the sad news when we were eating lunch up the street. Yeah, Frank's going to have to shut down that cart. It's not coming. This is last year for Frank. Is he still there? Because it's Labor Day. And after Labor Day, Frank puts his cart up in the garage and doesn't come out again. Because it's New Hampshire and shit fucking snows. And nobody comes here to scoop the ice cream. That's why we pay so much. All right. So Frank's son doesn't want to run the hot dog cart anymore. And the thing squeezing ketchup on his head is inanimate, so that's not going to do it. So there's nobody to give it to. So he's got this institution at the lake. You can't get a hot dog anymore.
She's right. They talked about it. It's an institution.
Everybody's like, isn't that sad? We don't get him now. We can't have nice things. No more hot dog. Because these damn lazy kids won't come and get paid $60,000 a year to stand out in the heat on a dock and put a hot dog in a sad bun and hand it to you. Whose kids are going to get hot dog experiences? Nobody now.
What if you found out that Frank's son is going to medical school and that's why he doesn't want to take over for his dad? Is that enough of a reason?
No. Suck it up, Frank's son. Can't you find somebody to work this in the part-time? Can't you hire somebody? Can't you take it? It's your father's dream. How'd you get to go to medical school if not on the hard casing back of your father, stuffed up with meat parts and pig snouts? This was a long road for him. Hot dogs made your life possible, Frank Jr. You can't pedal the bike one summer? Fuck off.
I have to be wildly honest. You're thinking of the end of an institution, and I'm thinking of, can I buy that enormous hot dog to put on my front lawn?
I thought about it. I didn't think about buying the hot dog.
Okay.
I thought about I could be a small business vendor. How hard is it for me to get a hot dog? Like, really? If everybody loved the what's the over under on a hot dog cart with the freestanding ketchup? And everybody wanted to take picture with the tall fiberglass
Absolutely.
Oscar Mayer man, whatever his name was, right? You need to have a hot dog when you're at the lake. You're standing there. Or get organic. Start selling some fucking chia bowls, and now all of a sudden, hot dogs no longer cost, $2. The chia bowl's like $97, and people will pay it because they're fucking healthy, right?
Dina had a chia bowl
Looked
for breakfast
delicious.
when we were together.
That's right.
They looked amazing. Yes. But it was, hey guys, did you ever, dear listener, have you tried chia pudding? You know how you put chia in milk and you overnight?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that's the same fucking thing. So it sits overnight and it becomes this thick pudding, and kind of like grape nuts, when you pour milk into grape nuts, it becomes mortar. It becomes haroset like. This is a very Jewy episode for me. It becomes like you can set stones in this.
Mm-hmm.
And she took 3 bites and carried it around the rest of the day. And I thought, you're going to need to throw that out now. It's 85 degrees out here, and that can't still be good.
I'm interested that you tracked her carrying that, too, because I was sort of impressed, and also I found it quizzical that she was still carrying the banana pudding bowl in her pocket. Because I thought, what you doing? Where are you going to go with that? What's happening now?
I'm totally with her. She's 6 bites in, and now it's like lead in her stomach. It's delicious, but how much more can I put in?
She's a gefilte fish-eating gal. She can handle it. Her stomach must be like
Do you remember that?
How could I forget it?
Gefilte fish
could I forget it? In a can with a can opener on the top.
Comes in a glass jar, like pickles in a glass jar. Not this
I feel like
gefilte fish that Dina had. She had a tin can.
Now we're doing a best of episode because we actually did a whole episode of when she ate this shit, and we'll find it. And I'm lying that I'll find it and put it in the show notes and tell you where to get it.
We'll redirect you.
Well, you can, because I'm not going to go
gross.
back. But here's the thing. As I said in that show, I need to repeat. Representing the goy present here, I didn't even know how to pronounce it. For the bulk of my life, seeing it in the supermarket, I was like, what is gel feet fish? What is that? And then I came to learn it's perfect. It's not gel feet fish, but it could be when you learn what it is.
It's perfect.
Because gefilte fish is actually, to oversimplify and quicken this up, it's like a wet fish meatball that's floating in its own sadness. So
carp, like all these fish, floating in a gel of its own sadness.
So take some ground up fish, moosh it into an orb, submerge it in the tears of your ancestors, and then leave it in the basement for several generations. Crack the top of that thing. It's like the Well of Souls. You open the top and then, whoa, imagine the smell. I can't even, because I've never been around it. So that's where we start. And it's in a glass jar, so it looks like a floating brain. You can see in there what you're getting ready to get.
It's exactly what it looks like. In gel.
Gel feet fish. So sister wife decides she's going to open up from the bomb shelter or something. They were eating like spaceman food. They had
100% accurate.
They had like some kind of cache of food, and they thought, it's getting ready to expire. The
bunker food.
The apocalypse has not come. Let's eat it. And I'm thinking, maybe the gift is that the apocalypse didn't come, so we don't have to eat it. So she did this thing, videotaping us because we were teasing her. It was a buffet can of gefilte fish, and buffet as in a hotel-size buffet.
It was so fucking gross.
So picture your torso. That's the size, that's the width, the girth of this can that she's trying to. It took maybe 40 seconds for the can opener to round the circumference of the can.
To get all the way around.
Open it, right? And then even she was taken aback when the tuna-sized lid opened up and the fork went in. And this was like room temp. Like, I'm not sure if you're supposed to cook it or freeze it or I don't know, like clothespin your nose it, or what do you do?
No, it's from the refrigerator. It's refrigerated.
Okay.
I mean, it's not when it's on the shelf.
Yeah, this
in the
was
supermarket.
Not, this was she put it in her mouth and ate it, and there was a little hand that goes up to the mouth, and then the chewing continued with the hand covering the chewing, and the eyeballs told the story. And it's a lot. I'm getting a trauma response just remembering it. I'm going to stop.
So I just got the heebie and the jeebies. So my question is this. We're shocked that she carried mung pudding around with her for the first 40 minutes. I get it. If
God.
something's delicious,
And
I'm
this
still
is the
holding
best
on to
and
that.
simultaneously the hottest woman you will ever meet. I have been on vacations with her where strangers came up and took her fucking picture while we were eating lunch together. I don't know if they thought she was famous or she was just that good
They
looking.
definitely think
and
she's
I'm like,
she has that
what the
look.
fuck, man? You just don't come up on Lady Gaga while she's eating her corn rye. Get out. So anyway, so she's you could trust her when she wants to eat some weird shit because whatever she's eating, it's working. I'm just saying.
She's been on vacation with other members of our group, and her top has flown off while on the catamaran.
Oh, God.
And people swarm. She's one to cause a swarm. And
Forgot that.
still,
Yep.
do not trust her judgment on the, what'd you call it, jellyfish?
Gel feet fish.
Jelly fish.
That's how
Gel
it's
feet
spelled.
fish.
And if you don't
Gel
know
feet
what
fish.
it is, I'm like, what's a gel feet? And I honestly, for a good long time, I thought gel feet was like saying mackerel, tuna, cod. I'm like, what's a gel feet? Because you would say tuna.
I've never
fish,
caught one of those at the lake
cod
before.
Fish, gel feet fish. And then they're like, gefilte fish. And I'm like, okay, well, what's a gefilte fish? And they're like, it's not a fish. It's fucking white fish that we've cobbled together into something like a food. And now we sadly
Like
eat
a
it.
food. And then we put it in the bunker for 27
It's
years.
hard news, man. I feel like you guys go out of your way culinarily to remind yourself that shit sucked. Like you're just not letting it go.
It's not just culinarily. How many
Make it
fasting
nice.
days?
Just make it nice. It's nice now. Or also keep making it nice and forget the bad stuff, but it's like, I don't know. It's like you want to grab onto it and say, it's a beet.
Here's a reminder.
Let's keep eating beets. Who's going to eat the fucking beets? And now we're going to read her write in and say, I love beets. I eat beets all the time. Beets are delicious.
A
and they're
lot
not
of
just for
people love
Jews."
beets.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of people love beets. Dear listener, don't be mad at her. What have we learned today, dear listener? The best form of giving is giving anonymously. There is a light at the end of the tunnel if you have small children. We would like to hear stories from you, dear listener. Please write us. Why do I even ask? Please write us at brilliantobservations@gmail or gmail.com. You could find us and the picture of that big wiener who's lubing down his forehead with ketchup
Frank.
on Brillob Squad on Facebook, or Brilliant Observations. That'll take you there on Facebook, or Listen Brilliant on Instagram. We've been posting some pictures. You heard Amy talk about sitting on a splintery ass bench in a camp in a stunning silk dress. You can see that silk dress right there on Instagram or Facebook. We did take some pictures. Here comes another apology. We did eat pizza together, my fine feathered friends.
Oh, my God.
We did not take a picture. At this wedding, there was a stone pizza oven outside, and gourmet pizzas were being slipped into levels of a rack every 8 minutes as they were prepared with this yummy salad. And as said, oh, yeah, we don't even have to go to town for pizza, because when we go to town, it's all about the gingerbread man.
It was like being in Out of Africa, because you were in this incredibly how did we get here space, and then magically the pop-up tables were covered in white linen with milk glass jars and cut crystal and proper china and beautiful, unique, individual hand-stitched linen napkins. Like everything was just
Perfect.
pristine. All of the flowers came from like family members' yards, and they didn't look. I say that as if, oh, how charming. No, they looked like they
did
came
not look
from
like
the
it.
world's best hothouse, and instead it was like, oh, well, it was super creepy because I was standing next to the sister who said, yes, those came from my bush, and I'm like, you know what? We're not going to say that again. Let's not. Take credit for the flowers some other way.
I said, in this group, you got some nerve using a phrase like that. In this group of women, she said, I felt it come out of my mouth, and I regretted it the
and
second
I'm here
it did.
now, and let's go. Yes, that's what weddings are about,
Sorry.
guys. Yeah, it's fantastic. It was super high low. It was fantastic. Right, lovely.
Really
lovely.
feel like it was a family wedding, which just added to it, because we know her family,
Right.
and we are her family, and it's so. Family weddings are the best, especially when you're not paying for them. They are the best.
31 years I've known this woman, and probably 29 years I've known this man. And they made this girl, and now she's married, and I've been on vacations with her too. So now what? Maybe we'll go on the honeymoon. I'm being gross. We're done.
Everybody looked at the next kid in that family and was like, "You're next." I'm like, "Leave her the fuck alone."
No. Yeah.
Like, everybody leave her the fuck alone.
Right. I've got a 20-year-old, and now they're sort of looking over, and I'm like, look somewhere else. Nope.
Nope. At their own pace, leave them the fuck alone. Thank you. Love you. Bye. One of the greatest parts of this couple's union is they've been together for 7 years. And that's not really common. I feel like there's, all right, we've met. All right, we've this, we've that. We've lived together for 7 months. It's time to get engaged. And a year from now, it's never been, we've known each other, been together, circled each other for 7 years. We've seen the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs. Like, that's a gift. So that was also just so great. Leave your kids alone. Let them find it on their own. Sit like me with stars in your eyes and think, maybe one day it'll come to us. Okay, so Brian, sorry, I had to throw one in. It wasn't you, it was me. We have on the board a morning routine. Did you witness something that threw you?
Well, I had the opportunity to go to Dallas and basically participate in some professional activities with a bunch of friends. That threw me in the path of folks I had only met for the first time. One of my favorites was Jen, who told me her parents are hilarious, how I did the gefilte fish, right? How I did the gel feet fish. She says, my parents, it's my favorite thing. I'm always getting these texts. Her parents always fuck things up and send her text trying to ask, what's a Latinx? Jenny, what's a Latinx? And she's like, Latin X? Well, let me help you, Mom. There's no Latinx. So all kinds of stuff like this. So just chatting in our spare moments, one of the young members of this professional group with which we were assembled was talking through her life and what was going on for her, as you do, chit-chat. She said, and I'm really, really happy I finally settled on the perfect 3-hour morning routine. And it grounds me. Thank you for the eyeballs. Thank you for the eye roll. I just let her keep.
What?
Yes. The perfect 3-hour morning routine.
What?
My brain had a little short circuit, but in professional mode, I just eyes and
blink, blink,
eyes and
blink,
eyes
blink.
and mouth smiling. Eyes and mouth smiling. Listen, I nodded. Interesting. Got it.
Blink, blink,
and the
blink.
3-hour daily morning routine includes journaling and stretching, and I'm sure there's some sort of oat-derived liquid product, like all of the things.
It's chia pudding. No, it's chia pudding
and
in oat milk.
Yeah. Oh, and she even said something along the lines of, boyfriend this, that, and the other, and I really settled into this fantastic 3-hour morning routine, and it really grounds me and this and that. And I'm like, what? Boyfriend? How can you have another human in your life if you're spending 3 hours rising each day and there's not like an hour and 15 minutes of that that's devoted to some activity? Like, I feel like this needs to be evaluated. That's a lot of hours. That's a lot of hours for cognition to kick in. Speaking as someone whose cognition does not regularly kick in the morning. But there's nothing I can do to jumpstart it, so I don't just wait. I don't write things down in a book. Come on. What am I missing? Is this just youth?
I absolutely think it's youth. I mean, going back to the weekend, it's youth. All of it's youth. Who has fucking 3 hours? I guess I do now, but who has 3 hours to dedicate to, what'd she say, rising? Like a morning routine?
Well, we were together at a trade show, staffing and promoting at.
Who else heard this?
At a booth. Oh, it wasn't that kind of a thing. I think the two of us were engaged in conversation. We were the first at the booth in the morning. And I was there before her. I feel like I was at the booth at 8:30. I don't think it opened until 9:30. I don't remember if I have those, whatever. I was there before I was supposed to be there, not by much. And I was just there. So when she arrived in the morning time, at the time she was supposed to arrive, in casual conversation, it came up that she has a delightful and cherished 3-hour morning routine. And I'm looking at her thinking, what the fuck time did you get up? Because you're here now. So it's like, what you been doing? Right? Maybe we're talking about my hair, or I didn't take time to dry. I don't remember what the fuck or how it even came up. It could have come up based on nothing. It could have been me. I don't know. I just was stunned.
3 hours is shocking.
Good. Because the first thing that I did was think to myself, I don't even have a morning routine, ...
Period.
Immediate thought, That's what's wrong with me. And then I thought, how the fuck am I going to spend, what am I going to do for 3 hours? It means I got to exercise. I probably have to, I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of work. I don't know, man.
Do you want to hit that with the I think that's what's wrong with me concept? Because I clearly see that's what's wrong with her.
I immediately thought of you, and I thought, Melissa's got a morning routine. She probably
Not for 3 hours.
I thought I'm the only one who doesn't get it. I'm the only one who doesn't get it because this girl has it, and she's, got an apartment in New York and a boyfriend, and she's got an oat drink, and, her pant size is great and all the things. And obviously life is making it happen for her. And Melissa exercises and she's, all of her things are going well for her. And so I was thinking maybe everybody really does have a 3-hour morning routine and she's just claiming it. She's just naming it. And then I thought, I just immediately go to the information I've been presented is valid and correct. And so if it doesn't jibe with me, I'm the problem. Like that's where my brain goes every time I get new information. So it was gratifying to actually hear you say and look on your face like my heart did when I heard it, which is you fucking crazy. That was so thank you for the you fucking crazy eyeballs.
She fucking crazy. There's 3. I mean, how self-indulgent are you that you take 3 hours?
But is it? I mean, honestly,
to be a human before you can add to the world. Like what? You pick up your phone immediately when you wake up and you're like, is there a crisis I need to fix right now? Whether you are an independent practitioner, a physician, a stay-at-home mom, what fires do I need to put? None? I can pee now? Peeing, brushing teeth, and for normal people that are in intermittent fasting, that's the only routine I have. Avoiding the kitchen. I fed the dogs. I mean, is that part of my morning routine? Feeding the dogs?
There's a whole thing that I struggle to adhere to, and I want to. I believe it. I don't practice it, which is create before you consume. So that the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is not pick up your phone and consume information, is not pick up a drink and consume coffee. Create something. Create energy. Create calm. Create an idea. Create a thought. Create a piece of art. Create. Do something before.
I don't think I can do that.
Create before you consume, right? And so the thinking there is before you allow your phone, in my case, to dictate the terms of your day by barrage of email that now your brain is in email mode, by social media and or news, and now your brain is in those modes. Instead, to wake up in the morning and direct your thoughts to the tune of, I will create my plan for the day. I will create what I'm going to do today. I will spend 15 minutes brushing my teeth and in the shower thinking about topics that I choose or about the activities and goals that I have for this day, this week, this life, as opposed to what in the world was she wearing and how does she look that good at the Emmys last night, right? Which is, it pulls me in a direction and then I stay in that direction. So their idea is like, before you decide to do that, create for yourself. So maybe create is a bit of a misnomer. But so when I heard 3-hour morning routine, I thought, here's a girl who gets it. Look at her. She's making it happen. Maybe that's what being, I presume, in your 20s is about. I don't know how old she was. If I had to guess, I would say 20s, but she could have said, I'm 43. Like, I don't fucking know. So in any event, she seemed young enough to be in her 20s. And frankly, with sentences like 3-hour morning routine, she would have to be in her 20s because who the fuck, right? Well, we saw them all at this wedding. We saw them all at this campfire wedding.
They were so lovely, though. They were.
I guarantee you, if we said 3-hour morning routine, we would get a chorus of "good for you,"
nodding heads, and
that's great. What discipline? That's lovely. Blah 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 blah. There's this priority on self.
Yeah. They wake up, and with priority on self, they stretch. They do. I wake up and stretch because I can't get the fuck out of bed unless I stretch.
Right.
So
I'm like a spider, trying to de-curl myself so that the limbs will work and support my body weight. Surprise, they won't. So I try to do it. Yeah, 3 hours.
Surprise.
3 hours. 3 hours.
I mean, that's super crazy self-indulgent. I am all for self-care. 3 hours a day of self-care seems like.
I'm still trying to
Are
figure
you
out.
caring for anything else?
Yeah, I don't know what
besides
self-care
yourself.
Is. I thought I had a handle on it, and then I lost it. So I still have to learn that. It was a concept that I became aware of at the beginning of COVID and throughout COVID, and I'm still trying to learn it. And these are not jokes. This is as if
No,
half
no,
the thing,
I hear you.
I would say 98% of what I say is not jokes. I'm not intending to be funny. Things come out of my mouth and people laugh, and then I realize after it's said, oh, that was funny. Like I'm not actively trying to put on a skit here. So I feel like I have to qualify, but quite frankly, I really still am learning self-care, and it's a problem because my whole life was unwittingly to me anti-self-care, and I still haven't cracked it. It doesn't seem like it should be that fucking hard, but it is.
Well, you did have and can restart any minute your massage credits at you have to bring that back, and that's a good, because physical contact, that's like the first, that's a great way to start.
I'm too embarrassed to go. I stopped going for massage for just a schedule conflict, which happens from time to time. The guy that I see is very popular and like a hairstylist. Once you get out of the rotation, it's a long time before you can get back in. And in that long period of time, a thought occurred to me, and now I'm so self-conscious, I don't want to go back. I just don't want to go back. And I have to get over it. It's a body thing. I've never had that before. I've never, ever had it. It just occurred to me that somehow I only realized I'm totally naked on this thing with the flimsiest of sheets, that the sheet doesn't actually hide anything. So, like, he massages through the sheet. Like, he's a dude, so maybe there's some sort, like, if it's your calf or your leg or something, he'll move the sheet. But for the rest of the back, he takes it down and stuff like this. But, for the most part, the sheet is there helping everybody out, right? And now I'm like, but that sheet isn't really doing anything. And then I was like, holy fuck, I'm not going back in there because he's a dude. And it's the first time I've gone to a dude instead of a woman, right? And now I just feel really like, I don't know, it's reverse Lizzo. Like, get off. I don't want you on there. That's gross. So, and I know I need to go. I'm in physical pain, and he's the only one who can fix it. But I'm not going. Not going.
Is that up for debate? Is that
What am I supposed to do? It's a very thin sheet. So when I'm laying flat on my back, what the hell?
Can somebody drive you there and drive you home, and you take a Xanax before you go, and then after a while you'll just associate that with being calm and
Oh, I don't think it's about that. Are you telling me that this is stupid?
You have to go
and get over it.
Yeah, I mean, you just there's a barrier that's standing in the way of you taking care of yourself. There's a barrier standing in the way of me learning to swim. It's fear. There's a barrier standing in the way of you taking care of yourself. I don't need to swim. You need to take care of yourself.
As usual. You are way too generous. You learning to swim is in no way comparable, and the fear that represents to me not wanting to be flat on my back with only a sheet covering flaps and rolls of my body that I'm now aware of, that I sort of either wasn't thinking about before and or are larger now. And it's so strange because my body is my body. I'm pretty sure he's seen it and knows what it is. And also, I don't care what he thinks of it.
And does this for a living.
And all of these things. And then magically, something snapped in me where I was like, it's a safety thing. It's like, I somehow don't feel safe. I don't think anything is going to happen, but it's not safe. I feel judged. All of a sudden, I feel like there was some sort of snicker going on, or that just the professional veil of, I never thought of him as a person. I thought of him as my muscle worker, somebody who was making it possible for me to walk.
As your therapist.
And then maybe what happened is, as we really got to know each other and chatting and things, then somehow gradually he became a person to me. And I'm like, now you're someone I know. Get off. Like, it just
okay.
Something.
Well, I can see that relationship change, but other than that.
Well, what I'm hearing, and my body has changed dramatically too. And in the amount of time that I also have notably not gone back. But what I'm hearing you say is it's a get over it situation. And I'm used to being unhappy and doing it anyway. So I don't need a Xanax. I'll just
lump
go.
it.
Yeah.
I think that's the beginning of
that. I know. Even if that's my life. That I can do all day long.
Oh, get over it. I could do that.
Remove my satisfaction and instead make it happen. Bingo! I'm there.
But what you're making happen is for your, I'm not going to say satisfaction, but benefit. Like, so it's, yes, you're removing your satisfaction, a concept with which you are wildly familiar.
Yes, if it's not going to be pleasurable, got it. That I can do. I got that.
but afterwards you will reap benefits from it.
Yeah, I somehow the whole pleasure thing, it's like it's off, it's way too far in one direction. Balance is such a fucking bitch. All right, sick of that. I don't even know, I don't understand it. Okay, I'll go. Got it.
I think it's important. You probably also have like a bank of them that you need to use.
Oh, many.
Before restarting your membership in the first place. Right.
Many. Mm-hmm.
You could even try a couples and make like a giggle out of it. Like do a couples massage.
Nah. Mm-mm.
Okay.
We've had that before. It doesn't really. You've had couples massages. It's not what you think it is.
It's not. It's
not what you think it is. It's two people
coupley,
being very relaxed with two extra people who are not involved. And
awkward.
then so there's nothing going to happen. What are we magically going to have a four-way? I don't know you, Juan. You stop. I don't need this to happen. Come on. I don't know. The couples massage we had, my guy was Juan. Okay, he was very short. No,
it's your second male. Masseur.
Yeah, but that was just on vacation, and I also had Brad, so I feel like I've had a lot of them. But in any event,
I like the sound of all of it.
I've had a lot.
Do you give a shit? I mean, other than it being sad that someone died, that the Queen's out?
I do.
Long live her douchebag son.
I
Melissa.
You and my good friend Marnie would be such good friends. It's good news that you are great friends and have been for 30 years. So here's the thing.
Who gives a shit?
She is so down on the monarchy as an institution, right? This goes to the whole thing where it's like, I just think it's asinine. It's stupid. No one is declared by God to have all the money. This is totally corrupt and stupid and dumb. And who cares? It's not only who cares, but abolish it right now, right? Then her wife is sitting there like, well, I don't know about all that, but I just have a real problem with Camilla because he got divorced. And Lisa is the most conservative, liberal person you've ever met in your life. Like, it's very, very weirdly charming, right? So she's definitely got the standard. You got divorced? Tough beans. You out. Don't give me this queen consort shit. You a whore, and you going to stay a whore, which is what you
broke
started.
up a marriage.
You broke
right.
up a marriage. Guess what, Camilla? You out. Fuck you walking. Meanwhile, I went into this whole thing with my kids because they were making the Queen is dead jokes. And I'm like, well, first of all, we're not going to do that, okay? Number one. And it's just the younger kid with his friends. It wasn't, So, and then I said, they were like, what does it even matter? Who does that? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, let's compare it culturally to something we have in America that you're not even aware how a part of your life it is until we start to break it down. And I just picked something off the top of my head and actually held up. I was like, look at Hollywood. Look at the stars, right? Look at our entire cultural system of the film and television industry in Hollywood. People associate that with America. We are leaders of the world. We are the pinnacle of that industry and as an institution. What would happen if there was no Hollywood? If there were no stars? If there were no Oscars? If there was no any culture surrounding the quintessentially American aspect of storytelling in the way that we do it globally, right? People fly here to walk down streets where we've changed the pavement to recognize, actors who are now
celebrities,
dead, right?
Right.
We take tours by car and by bus to go into the places where these things are shot, right? We pay tickets to sit in audiences just to watch. And guess what? In many ways, that's what the ceremonial cultural tourism aspect of the monarchy does for England. It is a symbol. It is a romantic storytelling vehicle. It is a part of history. We paid tickets to look at the crown jewels, right? We went to the amusement park of all of their castles and kingdoms, right? We watched the changing of the guard. We paid attention when people get married or what they wear or when they do all these sorts of things. So there's an economic reality of the figurehead.
Those are all by choice, right? Those are Hollywood, you pay by choice. You foreigners, us, we go there and we pay by choice. There's also a mandatory, we don't have a mandatory pay into this family in our taxes for Hollywood and celebrities. That's not.
I completely agree. It's a function of the state. It's a function of the state that this is taken. Well, because I always liken the monarchy to politics and our modern day politics, but it seemed like a bridge too far to talk with, these freshmen in high school who could barely want to talk to me anyway.
At all, right?
I guess the point is, and the conversation started with, let's say that the monarchy, because they was like, what's even the purpose? And I say, okay, let's say it has no purpose, that there's zero function or purpose. All right, well, maybe there is a purpose. There's an economic purpose. There's a cultural purpose. There's a historical purpose. There is a tourism purpose. There's all the, you know what I'm saying? There's a national interest purpose. How much attention are we giving to the United Kingdom solely on the basis of this governance structure? And it's not, we know that they're not the ones pulling the strings, right? But
Correct.
in any event, I like the idea of the monarchy. I like it to continue. I get that it is fundamentally corrupt, that they have done very, very terrible things. I'm an American. We know from terrible things. We're doing it right now. So, I mean, I get all that shit. Yeah. But, and especially with Prince Tickle Dick, whatever the fuck he was doing, and all the bad things. Which one? Why are you making an ugly face?
Are you talking about, Andrew?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even want Charles where he is because he's all right. So most of my information of the royal family
Comes from
and
Hollywood.
comes from history books, right? So like the crazy ones of Off with Her Head, like crazy ones
Sure.
from the past, and the show The Crown when it comes to judging, you know, our love of Princess Diana and God help us, King Charles III. I just think he's an asshole. So
Well, I from what I've read and seen, fictionalized accounts of his life, and I've taken it to be the absolute fact as if I was there. I totally
The
agree.
law?
Well, I feel like he's
Okay.
more of a, oh, here comes the hate, more of a victim than anything else. But I will say this. I know.
a victim of the machine, are you talking, or a victim of
We're talking
what?
about Prince
Like
Charles? We're talking about Prince
We're talking
Charles?
about King Charles. Yes, we are.
Oh, sorry. We're talking about princely King Charles. So, yeah, I feel that he was a victim of a system and a familial situation and a time period where he didn't get what he needed. And so, of course, it came out in some really spectacularly obvious bad choices and psychological breaks. I think it's informed by the fact that I am a Italian Roman Catholic, right? And so my whole deal is buying into, cherishing, taking comfort from, aggrandizing, and romanticizing some systems and histories that are fucked. So I'm okay with it. I mean, I super get, like,
Have
all
you
these
met
people
the
are doing
Pope?
all these people are doing the wrong thing for as far back as you can fucking go, and they are my people. And guess what? I could be mad at them, but you can't, right? So I mean, part of it
Oh, is that like I can call my mom a bitch, but you can't?
I guess.
'Cause
I guess
you can. Okay.
I guess. So I think that there's a complicated, and so for Marnie, who went to school in places taught by my peoples, right? And she
Who used to beat her
put
with
her,
rulers?
Well, they beat me with a ruler too. Put her fist in the air and said, "Fuck you." Why are you making that face? I've told you that before. It wasn't beat, just hit a couple times. So she
my
put her
God.
fist. Well, I didn't know my times tables. P.S. I
Jews
still
don't tolerate shit like that.
It was just a swat with a ruler on my knuckles. So
Jews don't tolerate shit like that.
yeah, I don't feel like Catholics do either, but we just don't tolerate it in the form of we talk about it in different ways, and then, suddenly that nun is in a different parish. Like, I really wish there was a different way of handling it than the way things are handled. But
Then the shell game
right,
that
then the priest who maybe is getting a little too close with that person, oh, he's not here anymore. So, but yeah, shouldn't he be nowhere? In any event, back to Marnie with her fist in the air at this parochial school, not taking it. Not sitting in the class like a young girl doing her time. And she knows her fucking timetables. She's a CP fucking A or whatever the fuck she is. She's a big old mathy in charge of all the people's money, right? And what do I do?
is.
I can't even use my calculator right. I still think it's the clock. So I got problems that she doesn't have, and I bought into the structures and the systems that don't serve me, and she said, fuck you, enough. So who's the victor here? I guess the monarchy's got to go. I'm done. She's convinced me.
I guess the monarchy's got to go. She wins. I think Marnie could pretty much convince you to do anything.
Fair, valid.
Fair enough. Dear listener, we had a great weekend. We're grateful to be able to share it with you. We would love to hear from you. Do you hate us? Do you love us? We are going to move our merch to a more accessible location for you
Fuck
because
the
it
monarchy.
seems our
Yep.
it seems our previous merch location has decided that my "Be Kind of a Bitch" shirt was not worthy of having any longer. So we're going to leave you. I'm not even going to say the name of the company again. And Amy is going to find a new place for us to land.
Hold your
because
breath,
she
kids.
has-
Yeah.
It's going to be on her 3-hour morning care routine. That's what she's going to figure
The quick
out.
news is we are super fucking down. We are not down with censorship. So fuck you, economic engine that facilitated providing our merch to people who wanted to pay for it and subsidize its production. We're going to find some new way to make that happen where we can say all the swear words that we like. And you guys really were there so often buying the merch. I know it's going to be disruptive for you, but we will do what we can to lessen that inconvenience for your chronic and addictive shopping habit.
So I do have one for t-shirts, chronic and addictive. I like chronic and I'm addicted. And I found a t-shirt that I loved and I bought it in 2 sizes because I want Amy to have it as well. So
Oh, nice.
it just arrived and I'm going to mail it out maybe today. Oh, maybe today.
Oh, I like it.
Look out, North Carolina. Something's coming your way. We love you. We would love to hear from you. Unless it's judgy, and then you can save that for a family member, which is where it really belongs.
Then you can send all of that feedback to brilliantobservations@yahoo.net.
Which is not our address. I wonder if it is someone's. Thank you so much for listening. We love you.